Multiclassing is very difficult. A lot of people shy away from multiclassing and decide to go with monoclassing because it requires for you to have knowledge, and it requires for you to have not only knowledge of that one class but also knowledge of the base systems on the 5th edition, not only on the 5th edition but on the edition that you're playing from Dungeons and Dragons. Even then, sometimes it's just better to go monoclass because it gives you the advantages, the overall advantages that the class that you're playing as will give you without the necessity of having downsides or upsides when you're multiclassing. That is especially true, more true when it comes to modded classes, because naturally and natively a modded class requires for the modder to have some kind of a knowledge on the base systems, even much more knowledge, even I would say developer knowledge, for them to balance. This is a very balanced class. We have built the mono class for the Bloodmage. This is a class that you can be sure that it will be coming to consoles because it comes from the mod manager. And oh boy, the multi-class that I have right here, the Vampire Lord of the Dead. This is just a dream come true. When it comes to roleplay value, there's lots and lots of roleplay value to have right here. And yes, this is a very balanced class, but remember that as with everything on Dungeons and Dragons, something balanced can be very broken provided that you build it properly. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I know that it can be very overwhelming when you have lots of spells, and videos can go actually really long. I'm not trying to bash on anyone, but I've seen BL videos, very good BL videos on 30-40 minutes length. That's not my goal. I'm going to simplify everything as much as possible, so you will not see me speaking about every single little small spell that every single class has, but I'm going to give you what you need for this to work and what is it that it's going to do. First, the ability scores as we level up. Constitution is one of the main things for this character. However, dexterity is also very important because this is a character that is not going to have that much armor. Our armor class is going to be coming from strength because of an armor defense and from dexterity. 2 points in here for 2 armor class are going to be game changer, especially as you level up. These are the stats that you're going to have as you level up. Intelligence and charisma are very important. However, you're going to be able to max them out once you reach the endgame. Once you reach the endgame, this is how your ability points should be looking like. Dexterity, because then again, initiative, not that important. However, armor class, 3 points in here from dexterity, that's a game changer. And then charisma. Vampires are naturally charismatic characters, so it's a very nice idea to have the extra charisma right in here. And then we have the intelligence, that's for the skill proficiencies. Not necessarily needed, you can change this to your leisure. However, I am using religion, investigation, or the history, because I think that for roleplay value, those are things that a vampire would have. Then again, remember that we're using the modded custom class, Bloodmage. The spells are not going to be that needed. I'll tell you what is it that you are going to need as you level up and on the endgame. What you do need to know is that one of your bread and butter is going to be sated by blood, which means that you're going to be healing whenever you kill things. This is very important to know. The subclass that we'll be choosing right here is going to be the Blood Reaver. What this does is that it's going to give you fighting style. Take two-handed weapon, because we don't want to be using dual wielding weapons for this character, because we want to be using our bonus actions for different things. Bonus actions like, for example, boiling blood. This gives you advantage, and if you're using the Great Weapon Master, that gives you penalty on your attack rolls, but it increases your damage. This is a game changer. This is essentially a vampire berserker. You also have the Unbridled Bloodlust, which means that when you kill things, you also heal yourself, and then you also have an armor defense that is going to increase your armor class on depending on the strength that you're using. Remember that as you're leveling up, you do have high strength because of how I show you the ability points, and on the end game you have the gauntlets of giant heal strength, and these are the ones that are going to increase your armor class. At the end, you are going to end up having 20 armor class. This is where you're going to have a concession. You're only going to be allowed to select the second character feat at level 10. That's actually once you reach the end of the Act 2 or entering the Act 3, so it's going to take quite a while. This is a character that needs to sustain quite a bit of concentration, so Warcaster. However, since this is a Berserker that's attacking on two-handing and that you actually have advantage because of the boiling blood, you can use Great Weapon Master. Depending on which one do you choose first, it's not consequential, it's just up to your personal preference. This is going to give you more DPS, this is going to give you more sustainability when it comes to your concentration, and some of the damage that we have, it actually comes from concentration, so it's actually just whichever one that you would like to take. But have in mind that the feats that we're going to be choosing, it's going to be the Warcaster and also Great Weapon Master. At level 6, you finished now with your Bloodmage, with your Vampire, because at level 6 you get one of the bread and butter, which is the Sanguine Strike. We're going to be multi-classing for us to be able to upcast this thing all the way to level 3. It's going to increase more damage, it's going to heal us even more, and it's also going to give you more spell slots. If you go mono-class with this Vampire, you're only allowed to use it like 4 or 5 times each battle. If you multi-class into the Wizard, which is what we're going to be doing, you're going to be able to spam this like a maniac. You can also be upcasting it up the way to level 3. At level 5, you got the extra bonus attack, so you're a established Berserker healing warrior right now. This is where it gets interesting, because at level 7, you are going to multi-class into a Wizard. The spells that I advise for you to have are not going to be that consequential, but there's a couple of them that you are going to need. First and foremost, Shield. This is free 5 more points into armor class, and it only costs 1 spell slot. It's a reaction, so if somebody bypasses the armor class that you have, you can use this as a reaction to have +5 armor class during the entirety of that turn. So that's just my advice. That's just the basic thing that you're going to have as a must. And then you can have, like, for example, Long Strider, which is going to give you movement speed, but it's not going to be consequential. Like I said, very overwhelming to have that many spells, but I'll guide you through what you're going to be needing at the end of this video. Just have in mind that as a must, when you choose your Wizard, take the Shield. At level 8 and level 2 Wizard, you can choose the Necromancy. The Necromancy is going to give you access to be able to summon zombies and skulls while you're fighting, although that's going to be coming later on. The spells right here are not consequential, they are not that important. Like I said, at level 10, you already have your Great Weapon Master, and then you're only going to be taking Warcaster. Now, at level 11, that's when you become the Lord of the Dead, because this is when you can have the spell Animate the Dead. You can choose either to animate a zombie or a skeleton. Just have in mind that this is going to be a must as you reach the level 11 or as you reach the level 5 of a Wizard. You can also start like 1 level into Bloodmage and 5 into Wizard. It depends on your necessities. However, the establishment and the tools that you're going to have access to, it's going to depend on the act and how you choose to level up this character. And at level 12, or 6 and 6, you get even much more powerful because you get a subclass feature which is the Undead Thralls, meaning that every time that you use a spell to animate an undead, you can get to use it a second time. Itemization is very straightforward. Remember that there's recommendation linked in the video description for each specific item that you should be getting on each specific act of the game as you level up and as you go through your journey as the Vampire Lord Commander of the Dead. Just have in mind that for armor, you're not going to be using anything at all because your armor comes from dexterity and from unarmored defense from your subclass. So the armor, it's not really that consequential. If you can find clothing, robes, or barbarian armor that you think that it has a nice trait that you think that you would be able to use, that'd be my guess. But I'm just using it for the fashion purposes because right here, it has like extra little things when you rage, but your rage is different than that of a barbarian. So yeah, that's just for the roleplay value and the fashion purposes, you don't actually need to be using any armor with this character. What you are going to need as a must is going to be the gauntlets of Heal Giant Strength to increase your strength, and then as you level up you can be using the Dark Justiciar gauntlets in here or the Gloves of Dexterity to increase your armor class. That's a very good option as well. And then the Amulet of Constitution to sustain concentration a little bit more. That's going to increase our overall damage because we're also using the Strange Conduit Ring. This is a character that's always going to be concentrated on something, so meaning that you're always going to get that extra 1d4 psychic damage. The Killer Sweetheart just to have that critical hit on demand. So what's the gist of everything? What are the spells that I am going to be using? How is it that I'm going to play this character? Very, very simple. At the beginning of the combat, you're going to be using the Boiling Blood. This is going to give you advantage on the enemy. So if you have all-in-one with your Great Weapon Master, with your Great Weapon Mastery, which reduces your attack rolls to increase your damage, the Boiling Blood is going to make up for that extra advantage or disadvantage that you may or may not have. At level 12, you have 7 level 1 spell slots. You have 3 and 3 level 2 and level 3 spell slots. The spell that you're going to be using more often than not to deal damage and to out heal. The thing is that this is a tank. You have like 20 armor class, but you can also use the reaction for shields. Like I mentioned, you have 7 level 1 spell slots. This is going to give you plus 25 armor class. If you have a hasted character, that's going to be 27. It's very, very difficult for the enemy to deal damage to you, and whenever they deal damage to you, you are going to out heal that damage. Because with the Sanguine Strike, you're going to be dealing lots and lots of damage, but also at the same time, half of the damage that you deal to the enemy with this thing right here, it's going to be healing you back. And whenever you kill things, you're going to be healing as well because of the base class. So every time that the enemy manages to bypass the huge armor class, it's not huge, but it's very, very powerful. Whenever they do bypass that damage, you're just going to out heal, meaning that you are quite literally an immortal vampire. Your main goal at all times is to kill 2 people as fast as you can possibly do. Use your survivability tools and your actually high damage to kill things fast as possible, because then you can use Animate the Data to raise zombies. The zombies, if they kill things, they can raise more zombies, and if you need range, you have quite a lot of spread out enemies, you can animate a skeleton, which is going to be an archer. So you basically are an unkillable vampire lord commander of the data that it deals tremendous amounts of damage. It's nearly, virtually, quite literally impossible to kill you, because if they manage to bypass your defenses, you can also out heal them, and they also have to be focusing on your zombies, because if they're not aware of the zombies, your zombies are going to be making more zombies. I can't stress enough how fun, powerful and broken this multi-class class is. If you like the content, like and ever, super appreciate it. If no one's told you today you're a gorgeous and beautiful person, you're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, have a beautiful day, and goodbye.